Yo, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report here on the Piper Academy Network. I'm Army Piper, and we had CPI data come in today. Hot, very hot, hottest since like August 2023. Market's seeing some sell-off on the daily right now. Looking at the hourly, we are getting a little bit of a bounce. We're going to talk about those levels that you need to be watching right there. Shout out to Coons Trading. I see him in the house. He said, yo, Army Piper, what's up? Over here with us. Love to see you here, man. Guys, looking at the markets right now for the open, we are down about 0.94% on the Dow Jones, S&P down 0.8%, and the NASDAQ down just under 0.7% there. Russell 2K, the small caps guys, selling off negative 1.15%, and the volatility is up. We're going to be taking a look at all the markets, what you need to know, and plus the big question. Is it time to sell crypto? Some analysts out there think so. We're going to talk about what that means for the markets. And we do have a poll up, so go ahead and click that thing. You know what time it is. It's time to do it. Let's get it. Class is in session. Yo, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. Getting a little sell-off there. Retest there. OC retest on that trend line, giving us a more downside. And yeah, guys, we got a little bear flag going here, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at these sweeps. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, but I want to show you guys. Something. This is pretty cool. Check this out. Let's go to DuoCam. Good morning, OC. How you doing? I didn't catch you eating breakfast today.
Nice. Well, I'll try to eat breakfast now before it, but you know what? Bad news. I just run out of coffee. I might take a little bit during the news one, but
Well,
I see something weird here. It feels different.
yeah, it's because we have the presence of the TradeFly. The TradeFly is in the house with us today. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Welcome back to the Morning Market Show. Your starting point. You're back. Started at the bottom. Now you're back.
Started from the bottom, now I'm here. Yeah.
All right.
Dude, it's good to be back. It's home sweet home, man. It's I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, man, missed you guys. Definitely missed you guys. So ready to get after it today. Mix it up with everyone in the chat. It's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to leave you the honors, man, because shouting out the alumni in the chat, no one does it like you. So go ahead and take it, man. I'll let you run that from the top.
All right, let me I'm a little behind the curve getting everything set up right now, but you don't worry. I am going to give you guys some nice solid shout outs here. You probably can see my screen in the background, but I'm working it right now. And of course, and little advertisement. Let's go. All right, I got it up. Here we go. Got the live chat up. I got BC Port Corp. What is up, my dude? If you ain't checking him out, he's doing that pre-morning show. Give him some love. Let's go. Username, of course, is in the chat. Flashing that mod. They've got that wrench, man. You better act right. Act right. Username might be coming after you. He likes to talk that smack. Alexandra G, the best mod in the house, of course. Our lovely lady, our SoCal lady. Love her a long time. And then we got Osaka, Tano, what is going on? Good morning, everyone. We got Crypto Mindset. What is up? Throwing some emojis in the chat. We love it to see it. Crypto Trades. Buenos dias. What's up, my dude? What's up, my dude? Good to see you in here. Trade Intuition, our dude Joe. He's another one of the fam. He's doing big things, showing you guys the chart, showing you how to trade. Love Joe, man. He's doing great things. Randy, what's up, my dude? He's good peeps. Good peeps. Met him down in Nashville. Good to see you in the chat, brother. Good to see you. United for the win, hootie hoo, my dude. And then Emma Coiner, what's going on? Keep a lookout. Keep a lookout. That's an up and comer. All right, scrolling down through here, we got Hotcha. Hello, everyone. And scrolling down a little bit more, Ninja Glock Glock. What's up to you? Good to see you. Junior, good morning from Canada. What's up to you? Hart, my dude. My dude. Good to see you in the chat, brother. Conus training. What is going on? How are you? Scrolling down a little bit more as we go. You guys are just blowing up the chat. Love to see it. Supernatural. Happy rising. Happy rising. It's always a good day when you get up. You know, it's a blessing. Say thank you to whoever it is you talk to. Wix Wife, Find 89, another one of our lovely moderators. Good to see you in the chat. I think I missed you last night. I don't know if you were there. We had a good episode. Me and Alex O, man.
Alex O. Crypto.
My dude. He said, I knew it. You guys were late. It's TradeFly's fault. I mean, I have that effect sometimes. My audio was all jacked up, but hey, I'm here. We worked it out, and we're making it happen. So we get to mix it up with you guys, and I am super excited about that. We got Little Fish in the chat. How you doing? And let's see. Average Crypto Joe. Uh-oh. Junior said liquidated. That ain't good. Sorry to hear that, man. We'll look at the charts, though. We'll get you cleaned up, man. We'll get you cleaned up. Baby. Baby, yes. Shinko. Sorry, my screen just moved on me. Shinko. Good morning, all. And then my dude, Eric Wallen. What is up, dude?
Yeah, he said that inflation came in a little hot. Sell everything. Sell the best hedge in the world ever. No demand. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a lot about that. That's actually how TradeFly came in. He said, Piper over here talking about selling. I got to go in and put a stop to this. That's why he's here. So let's go ahead and get that news up.
Stop loss.
Influential stop loss. Let's go ahead and get that news up. Let's go talk about that and go through all this headline stuff, and then we'll get back, show some charts, guys. Get those charts ready. Let's do this. Jumping over to the news, guys. Looking here, we are currently crypto market cap at $3.13 trillion right now. The trend line for that, for the average median, is at $3.45 trillion. We are currently undervalued on Bitcoin by 9.2%. So undervalued. There you go. Looking at the current risk level of Bitcoin right now, it's sitting at a 57% risk level. Of course, we don't start taking profit on here until 70%. So not looking too bad there on the risk levels. Let's go look at the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance with stables right now is at 60.28%. Without those stables, just under 65%. We're looking for that 71%, by the way, guys. That is where you typically get your altcoin market. That's where the alt season starts. Let's go over and check out the fear and greed, guys. Let's go over here, grab that, and see where we are currently sitting out on fear and greed. We are at 46, sitting in neutral. I'm sure if we do not get a big bounce up today, tomorrow, that's going to be in fear, and we'll be watching that tomorrow morning on the show. Jump over to these crypto bubbles. Looking here at the hourly, we are seeing some green. On the daily, seeing some red. Let's go down and check out the prices right now. Bitcoin currently holding $95,000. Looking at it on the daily, down 1.7%. Let's bring that in. There we go. Ethereum is down 2.5% on the daily, sitting at 25.84. XRP losing that number 3 position to Tether again, down 3.1% at $2.38. BNB moving up 1 position to number 5. Out of that number 6 position, it is up 1.9% today. Solana giving up that 5th position to number 6, down 3.4% at 191.77. Doge down 2.8. Cardano down 2.6, holding just above 75 cents at 76 cents there. Tron is down 1.5. Chainlink taking a pretty big hit there, down 6.3% at $17.90. Avalanche down 5%. Sui, good Lord, down 9.1% on the daily on the sell-off this morning, sitting at $3.16. Stellar Lumens down 4.8. Shiba Inu moving up 2 spots, guys, on the meme coin run, taking the 15th position there. It is up 0.9%, just under 1%. Ton coins down 2.6. Leo token moving up because it is a native token for a decentralized exchange. And of course, when we see a lot of volatility, they do pretty well. It is up 1 position to number 17, down 0.1% on the daily though at $9.80. Litecoin moving down 3 spots, down 8.7% after that rally of a Litecoin ETF news. Now getting some sell-off. It's at $115. H-bar sitting down 8.3% to the downside at 21 cents, and rounding out the top 20 down 3.5%. It is hyper liquid at 23.38. Let's go over and check out the stock market, see how that's looking right now. We do have a refresh of here. Here we go. Dow Jones is down about 0.95%, a little bit under 1%. S&P down about 0.85%. Nasdaq's down about 0.83%, and the Russell 2K down 1.14%. The VIX up 4.24%. Let's go take a look at the bonds, guys, because we're seeing a rally on the 10-year Treasury yield again, back up to 4.654% this morning on that news of the inflation. Let's go check out gold. How's gold looking? Gold's holding $2,900 after getting up there on an all-time high, down about 0.5% today. Silver, though, I know you love your gold, bro. I know you do. Silver up about 0.6%. Copper, platinum, both to the upside, and palladium dropping down a little bit at $986 there. Here's the data that came in this morning, guys, that wrecked everything. Well, first of all, we do have some good news. The 30-year mortgage has come down a little bit because, hey, the 10-year yield dropped a little bit, but now we're seeing the 10-year yield go up. Probably going to see this return back higher again if it does not flip back around. Core inflation rate, though, year over year, guys, was at 0.2%, expected to be 0.3 on the forecast and the consensus, came in at 0.4% for month over month. Core inflation year over year was at 3.3%. Was at 3.2, was expected to be 3.1, and see a downside, a little slowdown on the inflation there. Well, inflation growth, because it would still been up 3.1%, but down 0.1% from what it was. So slowdown of the growth rate of inflation. We're actually seeing it at 3.3%, coming in hotter than expected. And then this one here, guys, inflation rate month over month. This is the bad news. Because according to CNBC Analysts, there was only a 5% chance that we would see an inflation rate print this high. It was at 0.4, expected to be 0.3, 0.2, came in at 0.5, not good. And then, of course, the year over year came in at 3% here. Got a nice breakdown over here. I want to talk about that. It is the worst, Fed's worst nightmare just got worse, according to the Kabisi letter. CPI inflation just officially jumped 0.5% in 1 month, the largest increase since August of 2023. Core CPI inflation was expected to fall to 3.1, but instead rose to 3.3. What does this mean? Let us explain. This is the hottest inflation report we've had since 2023. You don't cut rates when you have inflation doing this. You just don't. And so this means that it looks like we're going to be higher for longer still. Another pause definitely coming off of this inflation report. Jerome Powell, which is why he's on that thumbnail, not going to be happy about this at all. Remember, he does have a thing today. What time is that starting at? That started already 14 minutes ago is his testimony that he's got going on today. So probably going to say some more hawkish things and bring this market down a little bit more. I do want to I do want to show you what this one thing was talking about here. It was, maybe I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay. It was a 5% chance. It was the chances of each of the inflation rates and what it would do to the markets. The worst case scenario, which was only a 5% chance, was this 0.5%. So, let's go back over here and talk about the X report still. And it gets even worse. Headline CPI rose by 0.5% month over month, above the expectation of 0.3. This marks the first 0.5% increase since August of 2023. Not even the early 2024 rebound in inflation saw a CPI jump by this much. And you guys can see here, here's the percentage per month that it had been at. In May and June, it went flat, 0%. Then it was 0.1, 0.2 for several months. September, that's when they cut those rates. And then it went 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. Inflation is definitely on a return, and inflation on top of weak labor markets, not going to be a good thing for the economy. And the Fed Reserve is definitely not going to be able to cut rates. So the sell-off pressure right now, risk-off sentiment is happening in the markets, and that's why we're seeing this pullback. So the 5 days ago, we posted this chart showing the surge of inflation. We talked about this here on the show. Big surge of inflation, that's what they were expecting. So, yep, that's the premium thing there. Month over month increase in core CPI is more concerning. The chart via zero hedge not only was 0.4% above the expectation, but it doubled from what we saw in December. So that's what I wanted to break down there. U.S. Treasury yields, we've already showed you this. 10-year Treasury yield shoots above 4.6 after that hot CPI report, which is also not a good thing to see. It means that the sentiment about the U.S. economy is looking weak. I mean, a lot of people selling off. When it goes up, that means people are selling that 10-year Treasury yield, and that is what we're seeing. So a lot of people not having too much faith in the U.S. economy right now. And we will talk about this one in a while, guys. So sell crypto as the show speculation top. So we'll talk about that, guys. We do have that poll. Make sure you fill it out. But for right now, let's go jump back over to Trio Cam and let's talk about this inflation, man. Is this inflation as bad as what it looks? Because it looks bad. When you talk about it's doubled since December, and now we're talking about since September, we have been on a consistent growth, and today was a massive amount of growth in comparison to where we were expected to be at by now. Cutting those rates, did we cut rates too soon? Your thoughts, TradeFly? I'd love to hear it, man.
Yeah, man. It's not a good look. I mean, it's been consistently pretty bad data. It was kind of surprising to me that last time we heard Powell talk, he was dovish, and he was like, "We've made progress. We're looking great. Inflation is coming down to where we want it." And then we got poor job numbers again, kind of following that up. and it was like the again, it just wasn't lining up in terms of the data we were getting. And you've been screaming about that for, I would say, months upon months. Like
About
what
1 year now. About 1 year, I've been screaming that this is not going in the right. I guess it's about 7 months. About 7 months now, not in the right direction, guys. There's underlying data here that does not support what they're putting on a headline. So, yeah.
and that's kind of the fear. And really when it comes down to it, I am very simple in my approach. And I look out and I see what is really going on in the world. What is tangible? What do I see? I see people losing jobs. I see that, inflation in my eyes and what I'm paying for on a monthly basis has not come down. I mean, things actually are trending up in some cases. If you're looking at, like eggs and things of that nature, like you're still seeing things kind of jump through the roof. And it's like this, I mean, I eat eggs all the time. Like I would say, in terms of what we buy from the grocery store, eggs may be one of the most common things that we buy. Now, I don't know if that's more supply shortage or what the case may be, but here nor there, the prices are still high and there's nothing really coming down. Like my electricity is not going down. There is just nothing. And
Nope.
so when it comes down to it,
Going
like
up.
that's my test for things, my barometer of what's reality. And that is, it's not looking great. So to add to that, I think there is going to be fears, right? This can't hit the market this quickly, but the idea of tariffs are another thing, because understand that if China rebuttals essentially, and they're like, you know what, you want to play this game, we'll play that game, that is going to be more expensive for us in terms
Yeah.
of, because we are a big importer of Chinese goods. Now, if you're talking Canada, if you're talking Mexico, we can bear that. We can bear that because the percentage of what we're importing from those countries is substantially lower than we are importing from
Yeah,
China.
for sure.
So that is another metric to kind of add to the equation that's going to make things weird. But is it one of those things that up front it sucks and later on it is better? That's yet to be seen. And that's kind of what I'm holding out hope for, is that we go in there, Doge is doing its thing right now, trying to get rid of a lot of the waste. And to be honest, I do support that. And I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people are very divisive on that. I disagree. I think this is long overdue. And we need to cut out the waste and the fraud that's happening. It's happening. It's with your money and you guys don't even realize it. For you to back it at any sense is crazy that you would support some of this waste that's happening right now.
I
So
was watching it.
anyways,
I was watching on X earlier. There was a video clip of Elon Musk in the Oval Office. Trump sitting there, and all the media, the journalists, and one of the journalists said, called him out about the $50 million in condoms for Gaza was an inaccurate statement, and he's like, yeah, but look, we're not going to bat 1,000 every time. Yep, we're going to get some information wrong. You're right. It wasn't all to Gaza. It was $50 million in condoms to help fight HIV and AIDS in someplace in Africa. I don't remember, Zimbabwe or something. And he goes, but it still stands that it was $50 million that we spent of U.S. taxpayer money for condoms for another country. And she goes, so you will clarify that? He goes, I just did, and absolutely, I should be called out for it. When we get something incorrect, you should correct us. But it's still $50 million in condoms. Why are we paying for that? Fact still stands, right? Everyone wants to slice down on, you got that wrong. It wasn't $50 million in condoms in Gaza. It was still $50 million of our money going to some other country for condoms. I don't care how you slice it. So now, spot on with that, dude.
I didn't vote for that. Like I never said, hey, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and send those condoms elsewhere. But like, come on, man. Like, yeah, it's wild. And I actually posted that exact thing on my X. It's funny that you picked up on that, because it's very refreshing to hear someone be like, you know what? I'm not gonna bat 1,000. I will make mistakes, but we will quickly correct those mistakes. Dude, that
Yep.
I cannot tell you how freaking refreshing that is, that somebody, because everyone wants to be right and they never want to look like they're wrong. Like no one wants to admit it, but you're wrong all the time. Let's face it. So what are you going to do to correct that action is what's important to me.
Correct. I get it. I get it. Let's get into the charts, man. TradeFly, you ain't been on here in a hot minute, so I'm gonna let you give the current picture of Bitcoin, and then I want OC Guy to talk about his Wycoff distribution, because what we saw happen today is another one of those little data points on that liquidity sweep. So let's kick it over to TradeFly first. We'll come back around with OC to wrap up and give a little update on that Wycoff distribution. What do you got for us, TradeFly?
Is that going to be a $50 million worth of wrap up or what? All right, so let's go over to the liquidation heat map here. I like starting here. All right, this is a starting point for me when I start looking at the charts. What I want you to see though right now, because we had a very extensive conversation about liquidity and how this heat map really works. We were talking about that yesterday on the nightcap, and a lot of liquidity came in last night. All right, so liquidity came in. Now, granted, this move right here is a news-based move. But what I want you to focus on, what's important here, is look how the wick comes down and grabs this liquidity, and then buying pressure comes in. All right. And you can see that with the price starting to recover quite quickly. You see that over and over again with this liquidity heat map. It gives you a little bit of an edge, especially if you have a trend which was kind of going down and consolidating. It just takes one little piece of news, one little thing in the market to shake it just a little bit, and all of a sudden these wicks come down and grab this liquidity. It happens over and over again. I think it is a great tool for you guys to keep in your scan and use as part of your daily analysis. Now, hotspots on the map, you're getting up at about 98.6. That makes a lot of sense. That was our last rejection. Our last rejection was about 98.5, 98.4. And the funny thing is, if you look at this right here, this was the hot spot on the map at about 98.4. We were talking about that as we got this rejection. Price was coming down. And the other thing that you need to understand about this, as it heats up, all right, it's not instantly getting hot, but you need to understand that where is this liquidity coming in? Well, it's kind of interesting, and it's kind of relevant because you're looking at this price action. It gets down to 96, 96.4, whatever the case may be, and you start seeing this liquidity come in. That means people are getting confident in this trend continuing its downward move. All right, that's why this liquidity is coming in. Right. So they're putting stop losses here. Their leveraged positions will get liquidated here. That's what this liquidity is on the map. So it's getting hotter and hotter now to the top side. So what I would look for is something like this. All right. So all the way over here to the left, when you see this go dark, right, there's nothing left to chase. That is your sign that there's likely to be a reversal. And that is one of the additional tools that you can use with this map here. So again, top side, you got about 90, we'll call it 98.6. That makes a lot of sense. You do have a little hot spot here. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go down and grab that, and there's going to be probably some reasons for it we'll look at on the chart here. But honestly, we could.
What's that price level?
That price level is 93.4. And trust me, there is significant support under that level. So it's close. It's close. But again, buying pressure keeps coming in, and it came in at a significant level. So let's go ahead and look at that on the chart here and understand why some of this buying pressure came in. Now, I like to mark the liquidity now on my chart. All right. So pre-show, pre-market, I'll go in. All right, where's liquidity at? Here was liquidity this morning, wick down, caught that liquidity. Here's where the liquidity is to the top side. And then you start finding confluence. Okay. So you have liquidity, makes a lot of sense to see a wick reestablish the range, but you also had this long-standing trend line, and it becomes very obvious of what our trend is on a shorter time frame. It is down. Okay. It is definitely down. You can see dynamic reactor has bent over to validate that the trend is currently down. And I mean, you can just see it's just going back and forth, down and right. I mean, it's very, very clear. But then you're like, okay, well, let's see. Liquidity's here. You draw that line. You're like, damn, that's a nice horizontal. You're looking at it and you see, look, wick off of there, right here. It got held under. It was resistance. It was support at times. I was like, hey, this is actually a significant level. So you have a nice significant horizontal of liquidity, as well as this trend line coming down and right. That is a nice area of confluence. And then it's validated here, right? You had this nice wick showing you that buying pressure is coming in. This is different, right? This happened, because there was a little dump. I think there was a little bit of, man, things just kept, I'm trying to think of the word here. It was, I can't even think of it. But anyways, like you had positions that were continuing to get liquidated as the price was moving down. The move happened pretty quickly. You don't always take these and be like, okay, this is the end all be all where the bottom of this wick is. But that being said, where did we come down to? We came down to a very, very significant channel. And I've talked about this on the nightcap as well. And we've hit this channel over and over again. The top side of this channel right here has been absolute fire. And that really is a long-standing channel that goes back to 2021. Just understand that's basically from the highs of 2021 and as well as the support areas when it came back down. So understand this is a significant area. All right, 92.5 or so is about where you're going to see it. It looks like I may have moved a little bit. I'll have to adjust that again, but it should be about 92.5. And you have the value area low that's kind of showing you there's confluence with that area. So I'd say a very, very important spot on your map is about 92.5. And what else is starting to line up with it? This long-standing trend line. And when you have that intersection of three different things showing you that there is a significant area of support, that's an opportunity for a swing trade. All right. So that is one that I actually have open. I showed it to my people on the nightcap 92.5. I have a limit order open and it's been sitting there for weeks. I have no problem leaving a limit order when I have confluence with a significant area. So that is I'd say a bottom side area that I'm looking at. Does that mean I'm saying price is going there? No, I'm saying I'm ready for price to go there if it does. And that's kind of how I like to approach the game. Now, if we're looking at top side, we're starting to reestablish the range here. We're getting over the 618. That's just where this B is to the top side. 618 is right here as well as a horizontal. We've reestablished that range. That typically, when you in conjunction, when you have bad news, you get strong buying pressure coming in, you reestablish the range. That would actually be typically an entry. So the data though is scary, right? I don't know if this is why this buying pressure is just coming in. So I would stay away from it for today. Typically though, if I saw this on the charts, I want to kind of make this a little bit bigger here. And so you can understand what I'm looking at. When you have an area of support right here, you see this green line at 95.6, 95.6, also the 618 of that smaller range there. You get liquidity that builds up in here. Very important to understand this. So when the wicks come down and you have price action come down into this area, it's taking that liquidity. All right. So there's not much more for the maker to chase in terms of where liquidity is sitting. I think there might be now some kind of building up, maybe right around here or so, but it's come down and it's reestablished the range. So it's cleared out liquidity. Now it's reestablished the range. Typically, I would take a trade. It's just we had the data come in today that I don't like. That scares me off, to be perfectly transparent with you. If we continue to stay in this range, though, the point of control is going to be your next spot. But honestly, I'm not as concerned about the point of control. I don't know that it's necessarily been that line in the sand for price action. It has really just been the median. That is what I'm noticing right now with current price action as we pogo around back and forth between these two areas. You can really see it right here and right here. So top side where your liquidity is now is at 98.5. Also, you have your dynamic reactor working its way down on the 8-hour, just to be clear about that. So that area right there is really where I'm looking at. And again, that is 98.5. So here's your real two key zones pinched in between these two areas of liquidity. And that is where you're seeing the bulk of the price action right now. So top side, again, that's what I'm looking at. I think you'll see probably a rejection. You've already seen one here. I do think if it works its way back up, that is when you start evaluating some of your positions and be like, okay, if you're in a scalp or an intraday type trade or just a low time frame swing trade, that might be that place where you start like, all right, this is where I take profits or even exit a position. I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but that's what I'll be looking at personally. I am in some open long positions right now. I think if we come back up to retest this area, that is where I'm going to look at. Now you're like, okay, well, what if it keeps going up? Cool. You got the weekly pivot here at about 100K. As you can see, there was massive selling pressure off of there. You can it's every time we've kind of interacted with that area, wick, and these are strong wicks. This is the 8 hours. So that's definitely an area I would keep an eye on for rejection or some price action off of there. Could be an opportunity for a scalp trade as well. So there you go. That is what I'm looking at. This is all kind of shorter time frame stuff, not really zoomed out. The bigger picture it's looking a little bearish on the shorter time frames. I mean, there's nothing, you can say about it. Now, as you zoom out more, we're consolidating. And one thing I do want to point out to you on, I'll say, the medium time frame, let me get rid of that, is where we're at. We're at 92 days. Probably 93 now. I did this yesterday. 93 days. Our last time that we consolidated, remember that went for 253 days. You can see that right here. All right. This period to the end here before we broke out was 253 days. Right here, where we set up kind of this M looking shape, which is kind of what we're doing all over again, this M looking shape. The time periods are pretty similar. So this could play out where you see another little push to the downside, hit that high confluence area of 3 different points that are kind of lining up, which would be probably, around 100 days or so. So it's kind of interesting to see, this kind of playing out twice, right? M pattern, you got another little M right there. Keep an eye on it. That's what I'll say. Like I said, I got a limit order. It's ready. If it comes there, I'm in. So again, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll pass it over to you and let you guys do some TA.
No, appreciate it, man. Hey, if you guys haven't done so yet, smash that like button. We got a lot of people in here. Hey, Coons Trading, dude, Coons, we need to get you on here because you were talking this morning about some ABC correction coming off of the 618 on your Elliott waves. If you guys don't follow Coons Trading, you guys need to. I watch him in the morning sometimes when I have time while I'm prepping my show. And just shout out to the whole community for dropping in on us today. We appreciate you all being here, but we definitely need to get Coons on. Yeah, right now, guys, I'm watching. Jerome Powell is talking, so we are seeing a little bit of market volatility getting a pump up. But OC, let's go over and check out what you were talking about yesterday with the Wycoff distribution, and let's just see like how things are looking right now with that. So Chart Prime in the house, guys. I see him. Hide your kids, hide your wives. Bitcoin gonna do something. There you go. OC, what do you got for us, man? Let's check out your Wycoff distribution theory as it stands today.
Absolutely. So let's talk a lot first about what Piper was talking about a distribution schematic here. On a daily, it has that right here. We could be right between the SOW and LPSY areas here, defining whether we're going to be breaking down on continuation up. Let me show you very quick what I got here. Let me just clear this up for a little bit. And let's go to the daily. On the daily, we can see it clearly happening as for the Wycoff distribution, right? Especially with this little consolidation schematic in this area, right? So we can see it right there playing out, and we could be going for that retest. Something important is that we not only have a setup base in here, but also dynamic reactor is coming in strong. Something else that is very important, we have a reversal and we have the flip of the ribbon. I believe that we could be having a double bottom pattern, something like this, to have a further continuation downwards, which will be actually getting us somewhere around this area, especially if we factor in that we have a liquidity zone right there adding to that volume. Not only that, we also have the previous monthly low, and we are very, very close of the blue predictive range and the golden predictive range. So I will be looking somewhere between 92 and 87. Where things start getting a little bit more interesting, it is when we start talking about what's happening like at the bottom of it, right? Or at the end of it when we zoom in. For example, we can see it coming down, a little range in here, V-shaped recovery, the high not higher than the previous range. And guess what? That gives us 70% chances of ranging. And if we go back to Wycoff, you can see that we can come back down here, little range, V-shaped recovery, the next high not higher than the previous range, and that gives us that 70% chances of ranging. Something about this, it is the spring area, right? Very, very, very similar to the SOW area right here, where we create a lower low in here, right? So that's why I only teach it till here, because then it's just a matter of kind of like a being very specific or very technical within Wycoff. Remember that Wycoff, it is an advanced technique. It's not me telling you, it is Binance at this point telling you, right? So what could happen here? Well, we could be looking, and there you go. We could be looking for the next bottom, or at least going to visit the sweep of the lows. So yesterday we circled this part in here, and guess what? We went flying to get it. So hopefully you guys enter, move your stop to entry, and now it remains to be seen. But at this point, look at our prime score 1, very low, right? Consolidation score 6, getting to break it, right? And then look at that. It seems like we are making or building a inverted goose head. Let me show you what a goose head does. There we go. When we are bullish, we have a further continuation up and then a big retracement, right? What happens if we have an inverted goose head like in here? That will be a further continuation down, right? And then retracement. So look at those interesting areas. And what I have circled those since a long, long, long time ago, it is because we have an interest area right here. And also when we start using our indicators, we'll see that we have start accumulating some very important supports right there. We have a liquidity zone, we have the previous weekly low, we have a support line there. And let me show you the VPVR. The VPVR start getting areas of smart money entries where we see low volume, big reactions at that point. So we know there's hidden volume on those areas, right? Or at least last minute areas. Another important thing that happens within those areas, it is that right now it is a purple predictive ranges. Let me show you what happens when we hit purple. Usually, in most of the cases, when we hit purple, where we are very close to the purple line, we have a big rejection, right? Let me show you a little bit farther back in here. So we go very close to purple and we have a big rejection. In this case, it wasn't purple, but let's see. There we go. Purple here in big rejection. So it's not a full trend bounce, but a big reaction on it. So that's why I'm aiming for that further continuation. Maybe get somewhere between 89 and 86K, right? So sweep of the lows, that will also be coexisting with a daily. Let me show you a daily sweep of the lows to then start breaking, and that's when this trend line comes into place. Oh no, that one, this one here. I think it's blocked. So yeah, let me just do a new one. This trend line comes into play for sweep of the lows, break of the trend line, going to find some support, create a new trend line here with a higher high, and finally taking the previous highs, and off we go with the next retracement. So you might have 2 points, yes, 2 points of entry either here or here at the breakout retest. Retest important. We're going to be first looking for the break of the pierce of the ribbon through the zero line. That will be our first signal. If you want an extra dangerous entry, wait for the second flip of the ribbon. Might be there, or might even be a little bit higher, basically creating a higher low in here and a lower low right here, creating or generating a bullish divergence like we have seen here or like we have seen here, therefore pushing the price with strength to the upside. So that's what I got, guys. I mean, I don't think that we're doomed, but definitely we need to be careful.
And I have no camera, but that's okay. Let's jump over to my chart. Let's talk about that. I'm seeing some things here that I'm watching on. Yeah, I don't even have a camera there. We'll just turn that camera off. I don't need a camera. You guys don't need to see my ugly mug. You just need to see beautiful price action. All right, let's talk here about this daily on Bitcoin. I want to talk about overall, and then we'll go back to this article and talk about it, guys. Looking here at the article, right, or looking here at the charts right now on the daily, you can see we do have a flattening going on here on the MACD normalized on the histogram. It does look like we're getting a curvature here of the price action on the oscillator ribbon, but we are sitting pretty low. We got a couple of bullish things here. One, we're sitting pretty low on the RSI. Typically, that's when we start to get price action back up. You see it right there. That is that point right there. And we went up on the price on the RSI, went up on the price action, right? So we are sitting kind of low there. But when I look at the weekly, there is a cause for concern here. My issue with the weekly right now, guys, is going to be this, that when we look at the histogram, we are printing a red histogram candle. we have a very steep pullback here on the RSI, and we are pretty high here on the well, excuse me, a pull down on the oscillator ribbon and sitting pretty high up at the 70% line for a lot of downside move on the RSI primed ribbons here on the candles. So let's talk about what I'm seeing here historically for the price action on. Let's go ahead and turn off that. There we go. Let's just look at the price action here historically. When we went into a red histogram here, we had the downside ribbon. You can see a lot like this here. We were sitting pretty high on the RSI, and that is where we started to come all the way down here, right? That is what we've seen already. Now, we could be about to get this bounce, but this started a whole continuation back in March of 2024 for downside move. Let's go a little bit further back. We had an outlier here. I already circled it for you. That is a very small amount of pullback that we had there. RSI was doing the pullback, all that good stuff. But when we look at where the price action actually pulled back and how much of a dip it actually was, guys, from that level, where we hit that down to its lowest point was about a 12% pullback on Bitcoin. Not that big of a deal there. But that was also coming out of the very bottom of the 2022 bear market bottom. If we go back and look at where we are in the bull, have another period back here where on the weekly, we printed the red histogram. We were, getting this level here, but money flow was coming in pretty strong at that point. That pullback there, I believe, was really small. Let's go look at it. Yeah, it would have been a total of about 10% there. So looking at where we are right now in comparison to the historicals and on this price action, this is cause for a concern on the weekly. The signal ribbon is saying sell right now. It did flip into a sell bearish indicator. VWAP overbought, so on and so forth. But overall, we do have those key levels that we need to watch. The level that I'm watching for a liquidity sweep that we must hold is $89,000. The one thing that I want to point out, and I'm going to need the predictive ranges here, is that we are below the two golden bands. And this is typically where price action will consolidate during this period. If we go back and look historically on this and see where price action has been at when we've had these other pullbacks here, let's go there and bring this in. We were above the golden band. We had our bounce here on the lower support right there. We got into the golden band, bounced off the median, and then went into a higher range, which sent us higher and higher and higher. Because when you break an old predictive range, it prints a new one. And so going back to look at these levels on the histogram, there we go. We had one right in here. And what was going on with price action during that period? We were consolidating in the gold bands. You can see that there's the bottom gold band. There's your top gold band. Right now, where we currently are sitting at, we are below those gold bands. And so that has not given me a really warm fuzzy for a higher level at this time right now. I do think that we might actually see this pull down to that liquidity sweep. So keep that all in mind. I just wanted to bring that up. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over. I don't have my camera still. I'm going to get that fixed while I'm behind the scenes here. But let's go talk about some altcoins. And then we'll come back and talk about that article that's talking about, is it time to sell your Bitcoin? TradeFly, you got any alts lined up you want to talk about? Solana?
I don't have Solana up right now, and there's a reason for that. So I am actually in a long position with Cardano. I got pretty fortunate, caught it at about 6. What I like about Cardano, as OC likes to call it right now, is it's looking stronger than the rest of the market. That is on the heels of some bullish news, right? They're talking about the ETF that Grayscale applied for. And ever since then, it has been looking a lot better. If you overlay this chart with some of the other ones, Cardano is definitely looking stronger. It is up, I think, about 10% or so over the last 2 days. So that being said, let's look at it on a smaller time frame, the 4-hour, and point out a couple things that I'm looking at here that I think are significant. The point of control on this one for this specific range on Cardano is fire. Okay, you can see there was a rejection here. You could see that it got its initial rejection before the push through, and then it came back down, flipped it, what was resistance into support, and now it is maintaining price action over top of that area, that point of control. So very, very key. Keep an eye on that. Where is that at right now? That is at 75 cents, 75.6, we'll call it, okay? That's where the point of control is sitting at right now. And again, you can see that it is holding up. What does that mean though? Liquidity will be building up under this area. So do not be surprised to see that wick down before you ultimately see a move up. Now, this is all contingent on the rest of the market. Cardano is still moving with the market, even though it's just moving at a better rate, is what I'll say. So if the market continues to fall, where are we looking? What's a key level that we can look at? It's right here at the value area low. but that is only kind of your starting point for this range. But that is sitting currently at about 70 cents. Definitely keep an eye on that. But where am I a little bit more excited if there was going to be some price action for it to come down to? It's here at this horizontal. Okay, I like this a little bit better, and that's about 69 cents. No, I didn't. Actually, 66 cents. Sorry about that. About 66 cents. All right. This is really what I want you to focus on, though, and that's if the market pulls back. I'm hoping that the market goes up. Right now, I wouldn't say I'd be very careful with taking a long position here. All right, because you are starting to get towards the value area high, which you can see is acting as resistance. But this is really what I'm focusing on. All right, is 82 cents. 82 cents is kind of that line in the sand for Cardano right now. You have the dynamic reactor on the 4-hour coming down. You want it to break. Okay, so what you're looking for is the OC retest right here. All right, price moves through this area, very critical area, very important. So definitely draw a line here. It breaks through, comes down, you get your retest, and then what you want to see is this continuation of the prime oscillator, or RSI if you're using that. You want to see the continuation of that trend going up and right. So look for that. Price breaks through, continuation of the trend here, and then you look for the retest. That could be a potential entry for Cardano if it continues its strength of this move right now. Right now, it's looking good. Shorter time frame, it's actually starting to form a little bit of an uptrend, and it's really diverging from the market a little bit. So again, point of control, keep your eye there. If it breaks down, I think you're just going to see some downside down to that. So is that a potential scalp? Yeah, like you can inverse this OC retest. Understand that. Let me go ahead and draw that for you. Let me pull it up. Here you go. All right. So if it breaks down from the point of control, which you see is a very key level, you'll look for something like this. All right. Retest. Boom. Look for that continuation down to about here. That could be a nice quick scalp trade. Or an intraday type trade where you see that price action come back down here for retesting this zone. So there's two things that you can really focus on for Cardano. All that being said, for Cardano right now, I mean, with that bullish ETF news, I'm not going to say that this momentum is going to necessarily continue just based on somebody filing for an ETF. But again, it is looking stronger than some of the other altcoins. I think an opportunity to really add to your bag is here. All right. So this is where I'm setting an alert, even though I already have a position at 60 cents. This is where I would set an alert at about 66.9, about 67 cents. Okay, so opportunity to add to your bags right about here. But again, it's holding up quite well. I do like to see that for Cardano. One thing I want to point out to you on Link, and I'll keep this one a lot shorter because this is more of a swing trade setup here, is we're at the golden pocket of the range. Okay, so you can see where you had that shift. You got your first little higher high, or actually correction right here. So you had your high, and then you got your first lower high right there. And then that's where we really started to reverse this trend. All right, so that's kind of my starting point. High is obvious, but you come down to the golden pocket. All right, this might be an opportunity for those that like Chainlink. This could be, I would say more of a hodl ad or a swing. Okay, so looking at that, and the reason I kind of like is because things are kind of lining up. You get a nice risk to reward of a 2.21, and that comes up to this trend line. You're seeing the trend right now. It is overall, I won't say overall, but I would say medium time frame since December, the trend is actually down and right. So we have to take that into consideration if you're taking a potential long position on an asset that looks to be trending down. But looking at that, you got the 0.382, this horizontal right here. You can see it's lining up quite nice. You had a breakdown, you had support all in this area of the 382. That is important to me. Again, swing trade. So then we kind of forego something like the 0.5. We may forego this the dynamic reactor because we're looking at basically continuing this trend, which does mean at some point it's probably going to retest this trend line, this area, and you're going to see probably a rejection or some kind of price action off of that area. Of course, you need to then look at like, hey, where can the price go down to? I don't buy this wick right here in terms of where I'm going to base a stop loss off of. I'm actually like this area right here. I think that's kind of why we came down here. But the price, it was a cascading effect. That was the word I was looking for earlier. You saw that on a lot of assets, cascading effect, a lot of liquidations happening. Big, right? Think about it. It was, I think this one was bigger than like FTX. So it's crazy to think about. I don't buy into it. All right. That's all I'm gonna say there. This is, I think, the more true zone right here where you had 2 hits of support. But anyways, that's something I'm looking at for Chainlink. Could be opportunity, but of course the market has to turn around. So when do we say that happens? That's kind of the sketchy point when you start talking about this opportunity. If it breaks down from this area, I do think you come down and start revisiting the platinum pocket, to be honest with you. So that would be kind of my next. You can layer in, right? That's another thing too. I saw Joe talking about that yesterday. I'm not very much of a time-based guy in terms of layering to trades. I like to find these different areas of support. Right now, golden pocket, kind of like my first stop. And I've told you guys they come down to this golden pocket quite a bit. And then my next area would then be the platinum pocket. That's another area where you can layer in. So that's something that I am personally looking at, just so that you understand. Chainlink is something I'm looking to hold a little bit longer term. I want to add to my position. All right, I don't have a lot of Chainlink, and there's a lot of things that I do like about Chainlink that I think has some longevity and utility, which I think is very important. And that is what I got. I'll pass it over to OC.
Absolutely. So take a look at something like Litecoin here. By the way, something interesting it is that ganso, it is goose in Spanish. So I think you get a better one, carganzo, right this point. So, all right. Other than bad jokes, I still need the one sound effect. But let's take a look at something like Litecoin that we've been following, right? Remember that we range up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah, thank you. And we broke down. We have a V-shaped, not recovery, but retracement here. And we need to be a little bit careful here because we could be having the exact same thing that we had here, but to the inverse. Remember that when in doubt, just click here, invert the scale, and maybe you can see a little bit better of what might be happening, right? So it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. And guess what? We could be going farther, either down or up, right? Something important to note, it is that Bitcoin might be pulling the price of Litecoin around. That's not cool. We still don't have or haven't confirmed the flip of the ribbon. We need to wait, especially since we have this absorption zone, and that is because if I flip it back again here, invert scale, there we go. This absorption zone usually indicates areas of pullbacks, right? Areas of pullbacks. Usually you see that on retracements, there we go, areas of pullback. So there is a slight chance that we continue to the upside, but we need to be very, very, very careful because when we looked at Bitcoin, and I know we already have gone through it, by the way, liquidations is a free tool by TradeFly. So shout out to TradeFly. Let's take a look at what we got. It is much, much, much easier to go hunt at this point liquidity down here than hunting at the top, right? That's why when we have this inverted goose head, we can be speculating that we might have that further move to the downside just to grab those liquidations and then going back up. So Litecoin will be susceptible to this kind of movements. So if you long this, make sure that when you try to enter, set your stop loss right below that wick. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle room there, maybe like that, and maybe try to enter with half of a position or even a quarter of a position there. You can compensate with your leverage as long as your stop loss is respected, right? Other than that, that's what I got on Litecoin. If you, I don't know, Piper, if you want me to throw it back to you, let me know.
Yeah, I want to go over that article real fast and talk about the sell-off that BCA Research is saying should be taking place right now in crypto. Let's go take a look at that. Jumping over, I got my camera back. Yay. And shout out to everybody. We broke 50 likes on today's stream, so you guys rock. You guys are all-stars, man. All-stars. All right, let's take a look at this. Sell crypto as Trump and meme coin fervor shows speculative top according to BCA Research. Let's go down here and see what they're talking about. The surge in meme coin popularity and excess optimism in early 2025 may be signaling a top in crypto asset prices. That's according to BCA Research, which urged investors Monday to take profits and wait for more attractive entry points. Meme coins have taken center stage in 2025 after Bitcoin quadrupled in price over the past 2 years, helped by the debut of the Bitcoin ETF and the halving cycle. Let's not forget that. That's a thing. in early 2024 that went on to attract $40 billion in new money in the first year. The meme coin frenzy has been built not just on the promise of a new pro-crypto presidential administration, but by President Donald Trump himself, who launched his own meme coin. You all know about that coin. It's Trump. It paid off my car and then wrecked a bunch of people. So the surge in meme coins, record-breaking ETF inflows, and retail speculation suggest excess optimism. Historically, that's been a warning signal. Analysts at BCA Research, led by Juan Correa, wrote in a report, less fiscal policy than expected, moderating growth and declining inflation also could create a less favorable macro environment. We don't have declining inflation, though. We have rising inflation, so let's correct that one right off the bat. While we remain long-term positive on Bitcoin, we believe now is a prudent time to take profits and wait for a more attractive entry point. So let's just point out one of the other things that also points out a time when you should not be selling, and that is when mainstream media puts out stuff like this. Let's jump back over and talk about this here with the trio. Mainstream media saying it's time to take profits and leave. Historically, for me, that's been a time to question anything, right? About what's going on with price action. I'd love to hear your guys' input before we wrap this up. TradeFly OC, your thoughts on this. TradeFly, we'll go with you first.
I buy very little into it, honestly. There's a lot of times, or there's been a couple times at least, where I kind of coined the term inverse influencer. All right. When I see everybody with the open mouth and red thumbnails everywhere, I will, out of spite, take a long position just to be an ass. So, and it's the same thing you see with Jim Cramer, where it's the inverse Cramer. Like, how many times does that play out? And he's supposed to be, one of the top guys in the space. So, I just don't buy into it. I look at the charts, I look at the data, and then I make my own analysis at this point. I'm out on mainstream news.
Yep. OC, your thoughts?
I do remember when we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, right before the show started officially, and you read that news to me, and I was like, "Who's that? Is that like what news? Is that like mainstream?"
And I
news?
said it's
Yes.
CNBC.
I
And you
just
said, "Is that
laughed at it.
mainstream media?" I said, "Yeah, that's definitely mainstream media." And you were like, "How many times have they said this?"
Absolutely, guys.
What I'm
we need
excited
to be
for
a little bit serious here. What is it?
is when
Sorry?
it's one of us. I'm excited for that day. When it's one of us, somebody here at some point is going to make a media outlet, and that's the day I'm looking forward to it, man. That'll be cool.
Piper News. Welcome to Piper
Nice.
News.
Yeah. I am your host, Orby
So,
Piper.
in full seriousness, after this huge laugh and everything, we still need to be careful, right? We still need to be
Absolutely.
careful. It's not like, we're not telling you guys just laugh at our meeting and go buy a bunch of Bitcoin, because that is not a responsible thing to do. The responsible thing to do is analyze the risk, and remember that everybody earns maybe a little bit different, have a different family, that have different expenses lined up, maybe different credits, whatever, right? The point is that you need to look at your financials and see what doesn't make sense. Something important, let me be very clear about it. I used to have my own DCA plan. But when Piper started publishing his DCA plan, I just ditched mine. Why? Because he integrated everything that I did plus taking profits. So for me, that's a very nice point to get started. If you are not in Bitcoin, DCA, despite what you might be seeing in the media, it's a good way, low risk, to average down to then hold in case everything goes to, when, what is it? HF situation, right? So yeah, so basically just
Shit hits the fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say it. Don't worry, I got you.
I was very careful not to say it, but whatever. So be careful, guys. If you want to, it's always good to have a little bit of exposure, like TradeFly mentioned, right? Why? If it goes up, well, then you have exposure. You are making money. If it goes down, that's fine. That's unrealized losses, and you have the opportunity to DCA into it. So when it bounce back up, well, then you can get out and not lost, and even better with profits on it. So
Absolutely.
After that laugh, I just felt, like clarifying. But yeah, stream media talking about Bitcoin. I don't know.
Yeah, we got 103 votes on our poll that we put out and said is the top end for Bitcoin. 75% said no, 25% said yes. So there you go. There's your inverse. There's your inverse to the specialist over there at CNBC at BCA Research saying no, it's not in. So let's go.
The chat is perpetually bullish though. The daily DJ, I've gotten those people to vote short twice, and I've been doing it for 6 months. 6 months,
and
they are always
that's
long.
that optimism. That's what BCA research was talking about, the excessive optimism, right? So just, a lot of economic data.
And me and Alex were laughing. I was like, bro, this is not going up. There is no way. And it was like, well, you guys want it to go long. I'm throwing this money out the window. Oh, well, but hey, one thing I do want to show, because there's definitely some people in the chat that, aren't as familiar with me. And I'll try to keep this as quick as I can. This channel, highly recommend that you put it on your chart. Now, this is on the weekly time frame. I know a lot of you have heard this before, but this is where my sentiment changes, because we're talking about, am I bearish or am I bullish, and why? This channel goes back to 2021, high, low, incorporates both support and the top here. But we've been riding this channel, all right? It has now been support, all right, for, what I say, 90 some days, 3 months. So it's been 3 months of riding the top side of this channel right now. If we get a weekly close underneath of this is when I'll change my tune a little bit. And it's not saying that I'm really going to go bearish, but it does mean for me that I think we'll see a little bit of downside, because look at this gap. There's a massive gap here. Okay. So just understand, you lose this. There is very, very much in play the opportunity to come down to about 73K. And there's also liquidity sitting there. But that was your range high for 2024 there. So, or not 2024, but the range high for this previous range before we actually made our move up. So again, mark this on your charts, mark this line on your charts. And this is kind of my line in the sand. If you want to know where I'm going to flip, is a weekly close underneath of this trend line. That will then change the tune, because, people tell you the trend is your friend till the end. And I've been playing this. Piper knows it. There's been many times where the whole market was like, I am bearish. And I'm like, I am not. We have not closed underneath of the channel. Once that happens, that's kind of where I'll flip. And that's how I'm incorporating the technicals into my sentiment.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. That's good input up, man. We got to wrap it up, head out of here. We're at the top of the hour, but looks like we're about to go raid Dano Crypto. So if you guys haven't done so yet, smash that like. OC, TradeFly, appreciate you guys joining us here today on the show. If you guys got anything out of today's content, don't forget to like and share that. Sharing is caring, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Morning Market Report, guys. Until then, don't forget to tune into all of our live shows that we have here daily on the Piper Academy Network, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Trade Intuition, going to be there doing live Trade Academy. We got the crypto nightcap tonight with TradeFly. I almost said FDY. He's no longer with us. He's still with us, but he's not on the live show. Then we also got Markets After Dark, and then tomorrow morning wrapping it all back up and kicking it off again. It's going to be Good Morning Crypto. We'll be back at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to bring you guys the news, the charts, the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Until then, guys, trade safe, and as always, use some risk management. Catch you guys later.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. TradeFly, get the soul train ready. What a line from OCI, form a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Chart Prime, then you will part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline.
Boom shakalaka!
We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels fall low. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra. Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean.
That was awesome, dude!